we will answer it. Okay. So you can start posting about your queries. So in the meanwhile, before we start with the queries or before I receive some queries, for a safer side, I'll just go through about TechGM. Okay, so as you all
Hi,
are,
Nish.
hi sir.
Yeah. So whom do we
So
have today?
we have some students joined with us. So I just thought of briefing about TechGM first, and then
Mm.
probably we'll start with the Q and A part. Is it okay, sir? Just 2 minutes. I'll just complete
Sure,
it
no
and
problem. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So as you all know, so TechGM is an open innovation initiative by L&T Technology Services, and this is the fifth edition which we are carrying out, and the whole process consists of three phases. The first phase being the abstract submission phase, and it is live now. So in this phase, we have made available around 78 challenge statements in our TechGM portal, and students will be asked to submit abstracts for the challenge statements. And so the next round will be presentation round, and the last round being the POC round. So I'll just rush through because being this as a technical session, I just don't want to drag your time because most of the contents are available in the website. So the first prize, as you know, is 10 lakh rupees, and the second prize is 5 lakh rupees, and the third prize being 3 lakh rupees for the winning teams. So this is about the awards and recognition. I'll just move towards to the Q&A session. Before that, we have with us Mr. Manju Hatwar. So he is a technical expert, and he is the provider of the challenge statements of the titles mentioned in the portal. So I request, sir, to just brief about the challenge statements, just two or three liners. Then probably if we have any queries, we'll take them up one by one. Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, I know about these challenge statements, but I
Yeah.
basically better as since because if I start to explain these challenges, it's going to take a lot of time. Instead, let people
Uh,
come out and I will use that occasion to explain.
Yes, sure. So, team, it's an open house now. You can start posting your queries. If you have any queries with respect to the four challenge statements, you can post it here. Then we will start explaining.
Go ahead, please ask questions. Don't
So,
worry about any wrong or
yeah,
right questions.
yes, sir. Just we haven't received anything yet. I'll just make an announcement.
Mm-hmm. I'm not able to see any students. I mean, are they going to be?
So it is actually a live session, sir. So you can only see the attendees number because
Okay.
so
Okay. That's
because it's a
really
two separate things. So you
no,
can
that's
address.
correct. I mean, a little bit funny because I'm not able to understand from where it's coming. Uh, right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So, okay, will we get to see some abstracts or will they be share some views? Will they be able to share the abstracts on screen or how is it?
So actually they can't share the abstract. So the thing is, it'll be like it'll be like the normal Tekshetra thing which is happening internally, sir. So they can hear us, they can see the presentation screen, and if they have any queries, they can ask us.
But will I be able to hear their voices?
No, it's only the text, and I'll read out.
Ah, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
But how will I get to know they're happy with the answer or how, how you are you going to get any messages or what?
Yeah, I started receiving messages, but not with respect to the challenge statement. That's the reason.
Uh, okay.
So first, I think we can start with some of the queries which we address in the portal. So that will bring up some momentum with the students as well.
Okay.
Okay.
See, plant disease identification using AI is a very big project statement, but we expect a minimum minimum implementation here. because I think you should not target a big solution rather than just target as proof of concept, where it's expected that you do build a ground up system where you have an image acquisition system that will acquire. You see the leaves of the plants in agriculture, they demonstrate spectral characteristics. What do you mean by spectral? Because they absorb white light and they show different colors of green or yellow or whatever it is. So it's not enough for us to just take some camera images and analyze them. It won't work. Uh, because of this spectral nature, if I were to visualize them from a drone or from a height or whatever I want to do, we will not be able to see the same color on the leaves during any part of the day. They'll be different. And so basically, we are saying here under different spectral characteristics of the sun, they show different natures. So now one of the popular technologies used is a multispectral imaging, where you employ a multispectral camera. So I think there is going to be minimum investment on the participants to invest in a multispectral camera. Now, which one they want to choose is up to us. They are available from the minimum cost to the maximum cost. But basically here they just have to demonstrate a concept, right? Even if they capture one leaf with a small multispectral array sensor also will be fine. But it has to come through an imaging system. I mean, some people inquired me that, can you share the database with me? I don't have any database. I mean, see, if somebody gives you such image spectral database, it's of no use to you because you don't know whether it's really captured in a multispectral camera. So that's why I would say the overall solution is actually about trying to understand the various challenges involved in building such a system. That's really the fun here. So we are looking at an end-to-end proof of concept, right from choosing a camera sensor. But at least we have given a clue that you have to go for a multispectral camera rather than an ordinary camera, because anyway, nothing would be achieved by using an ordinary camera. So multispectral camera, analyzing the imaging properties, and analyzing the features of those. Um, so usually what happens in multispectral cameras, there are filters like RGB filters. So if so applying a particular filter really means you're selecting a particular filter on the camera. Okay, for example, if you select R filter, then the more of the characteristics that fall in the infrared region will be more visible in the image, something like that. So that way, probably weeds or the gray areas or the dry grass will be maybe more captured if that was the intent. Or let's say there was some disease on the plants. You wanted to capture, and let's say you know that you're trying to detect a chronic disease in a plant leaf, and you're already aware that that disease looks yellow, you create some yellow spots on the leaves. So now a filter like an infrared filter may give a choice to identify only those spots or highlight only those yellow spots in the image by uh, by putting a proper filter. For example, R and G, right? So R, G, and B. So you have these three combinations. So basically, a study into a multispectral camera is also important. So overall, this proof of concept should demonstrate that you have developed some expertise in building such systems. So once you have captured such images, and then it's all about image processing it to do certain image conditioning, and then um, and then use AI techniques or non-AI techniques, preferably AI techniques, to train the kind of uh, features. So that freedom is given to you. You want to detect certain disease in the plant, or you want to identify a certain category of leaves, it's completely up to you. So there is no restriction there. But you basically have to demonstrate that you are able to detect and classify certain types of plants, leaves, or diseases in plants. Okay. Whether you want to keep camera and a workstation separately, or you want to build a handheld device like a small computer you're carrying along with a camera, is completely up to you. If you are able to demonstrate during the TechGM forum that you keep some plants on your stall and you run over your camera with your handheld camera or whatever it is, spectral camera or some camera assembly with a your computer board. So you can go for computer board for building AI. You can go for uh, some AI boards such as NVIDIA TX2, which is very popular to build AI models. It costs something like $400. Or if you want lower investment, you can even try with a Nano, NVIDIA Nano, which will cost something like about $100 plus tax. So I wouldn't suggest Raspberry Pi because it's very only for hobbies. But you could try with this. And um, and how do you use NVIDIA? You go to NVIDIA site, you will get a lot of object detection models which you can use to train these models. Okay, but I would say you may have to do some read some papers on multispectral imaging even to arrive before you start analyzing using AI, because certain image conditioning have to be done on this. So that's about the challenge on plant disease identification. Shall I move on to the next one, Anish?
Yeah, so actually there's a question from Zafar, but before moving on, if it's okay, we'll just address that one as well. On which range does the real-time vehicle density heat map in a parking space applies? So it's with respect to the last challenge statement,
Yeah.
real-time vehicle
No, no,
density.
no. Can you repeat the question?
On which range does the real-time vehicle density heat map in a parking space applies?
Okay. Uh, if the question is range, means the camera range. Okay. So you see, if you want to identify the vehicles in a parking lot, it's completely up to the developer to identify what's the range of the camera, right? If you put a camera at a sufficient height on a pole, you would probably cover more cars. Or uh, but then as the cars become smaller and smaller, then the features of the car are not detected. So it's completely up to the developer or the challenger to really develop it, because if you want you have to basically to take a trade-off. Is it yes, you can detect all the parts of the car like mirror, that this, but is that really required? You just have to identify cars. See, if you want to identify a heat map, what we're basically saying is try to identify the density of the cars identified in a parking space or a parking lot. Okay. So let's say anytime during the day, which part during the day there are more cars or less cars. Let's say in front of in a marketplace, in front of a particular shop, we want to identify when cars are more or when cars are less. So how do we do that? So basically you have to identify cars. So what distance you want to keep the camera to identify cars, just to identify cars from different angles, is completely up to the developer. But normally I think a range of some uh, 5 meters to 10 meters will work, uh, provided you kept the camera at least around 10 meters or 10 meters height. Anish?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So we have another question. So this is regarding object detection in extreme dark conditions. Um, how do you want the solutions to be? Do you expect the solution to be at as a more dependent one, or the hardware to capture such images on enhancing the actual images to detect objects in them?
Can you repeat the question?
Regarding the object detection in extreme dark conditions, how do you
Mm-hmm.
want the solutions to be? Do you expect the solutions to be that it is more dependent on hardware to capture such images, or enhancing the actual images to detect objects in them?
See, overall, we're looking again for a proof of in all these challenges. These are all end-to-end situations, right? We are looking at end-to-end solutions, proof of concept solutions. So you have to demonstrate object detection under extreme dark conditions where there is no light at all, right? So, for example, you can demonstrate this by building a large box put on a table and detect an object inside. You can do that if you want to. Okay. So I would say that I'm just giving an idea. So under difficult dark conditions, how do you detect an object? Because normal cameras only sense object in the visual light. So it's completely up to you to do that. So this will employ some cameras or sensors or whatever you want to do. It's your choice. Okay. And once you detected the object, it will be good to classify the object as well. Okay. Now the classification of the object is dependent on how many features you are able to detect in that particular image output from that sensor or camera. And ideally, I could give a clue that better that the image output that comes out of the sensor or camera or whatever it is, let me be grayscale, because in grayscale images, the clarity is always better. You may remember that black and white images of the past old cameras where we used to use film are perceived to be much more clear than the digital images. In the digital images, what happens is there's a lot of degradation. But anyway, grayscale images also will increase the competition because each grayscale pixel is only 1 byte, which is 8 bits. So, or if you're using an RGB sensor or whichever it is, you will have to average using a particular formula to make it a grayscale pixel. But finally, so that's only the clue. Rest is up to you.
Thank you, sir. So there's the next question. That is, in the fusion of objects, how do you expect the output to be, like 3D or a 2D after projection?
Yeah. So here you can Google and you will identify if you want to imagine how a LiDAR 3D points. So 3D LiDAR is a 3D LiDAR is one that emits laser patterns in all directions, and it also has receptors to receive back the reflections of the laser rays that hit the object and come back. So this way they calculate the distance to the object with this kind of reflection. Okay, and based on the uh, objects that are hit, all those surface points are identified as points in a 3D point cloud space. So finally, a 3D LiDAR scan, if I were to put a 3D LiDAR on a car and look around and get a acquisition from a 3D LiDAR, I'll get a 3D point cloud of various car objects. Okay, that's there. But now let us say we have mounted a this is basically an autonomous car or a ADAS kind of a problem statement. So if we mounted a LiDAR on a car and we projected and we identified a particular we are able to see the object in a 3D point cloud. Okay, but then the point is, yes, we can identify distance object because all the points are there. But then the point is, it's a 3D it's a point cloud and in which there is a 3D object, right? Now but we don't have a proper analytics workflow for detecting objects in 3D. Okay, but then now you can assume that a camera is also looking at it. Hold on, I was also taking an interview at the same time. Somehow there is a collision. Allow me some 30 seconds. I'll jump in back here, Manish.
Okay, sir, sure. So in the meanwhile, guys, I've received some of the other non-technical queries here as well, stating that, like some of you have already submitted a solution. So when is the next step? What is the next step, or when is it expected? So the next step or the next process will be the presentation stage. Before that, we will announce you the results. So since some of the students and institutes have requested us for an extension, we have made October 15th as the last date to submit the abstracts. So you still have time, so you can submit your abstract till October 15th. And once that is done, there will be a evaluation process in which all the concepts will be evaluated. And after that, the results will be announced. Mostly, we will announce the results by November 1st week. And immediately followed by that, there will be a presentation round. Okay. So that is to answer you know one of the questions. And so there's another thing, another query. It's not a query. So Carson has asked, can we share our abstract so you can review it? So this is not the right place to share it, Carson. Probably you can submit your abstract in the portal. So you can submit your abstract in the portal, And if you have any queries with respect to the mentioned challenge statements alone, you can post it over here. Our subject matter expert, Mr. Manju, will answer your queries. So he'll be back in like some minutes. So please bear with us. And if you have any queries apart from these, you can post it in the chat section or in the Q&A section. Okay. If in case guys, you want to go to the challenge statement once again, you can log in into the TechGM portal at any time and you can view the challenge statements. And if you have queries with respect to these challenge statements, you can put up forth here. Okay, and so in the meanwhile, till our SME, Mr. Manju Hatwa returns. So if there are non-technical queries as well, if you face anything else and if you want it to be addressed, probably, you can post it over here.